Hey guys, it's Levi Gates and welcome to DETALKS. In the studio today, I've got Mr. Dylan Von Kleist of Rupes.
Thanks you for having me. This
Welcome,
is
my
awesome,
brother.
dude.
It's good to see you. Welcome to finally get you here up to Boise and hang out.
I've been looking forward to it. This is cool.
We've been friends on Facebook for a really long time, so this is
we're like
exciting.
real friends too.
Yeah, now we're like real friends because we
Yeah.
actually get to hang out. So he's going to be here all week helping me do this, so I'm excited.
I'm packing boxes. I'm driving forklifts. and
Yeah,
things like
yeah,
that,
he
so.
helped unload. We had a shipment this morning, so it was good. So for you guys that probably don't, you probably have seen him on the forums, on the groups, on the Facebook pages. You've probably read one or two of his articles.
Maybe.
Hopefully, possibly, and you've been bettered for it. We're basically just I'm gonna introduce him, and he's gonna talk about himself so people can learn about you.
Talk about me, yeah. So, yeah. Most currently, everybody would know me as the marketing manager for Rupes USA. So for North America, essentially. But I've got background in the industry that goes back. We're creeping up on 19 years now. Started like a lot of guys do in this business as a owner-operator type guy, performing details. Found my way into kind of the development side and marketing side through Adams Polishes, and spent some time with Surf City Garage and kind of landed my dream job now, working with what I call the dream team at Rupes. We got a collection of guys on staff that is
best of the best.
Best of the best. You never, the kind of like, I didn't think I'd be working with that guy. And, guys that I'd competed against, in other brands. And it's a unique situation we're in right now. We kind of get to set a standard. I don't think there's really a company that's kind of pulled that much talent into one area and a lot of bright minds in one space. And so we're doing some pretty cool stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're having a lot of fun too.
And you've been in the position for just over almost 2 years now.
End of August will be two full years. It's gone by shockingly quick.
And you're traveling more.
Traveling a lot more. Getting to Boise.
Yeah, you get to come to Boise.
Get to go to Boise.
We were in Italy a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I was in Italy. I'm all over the place. So I'll be in.
Quite the same, but okay.
Well, it's like I almost forgot where I was for a minute.
Yeah. You started speaking Italian this morning. We don't know what happened.
No, please, you don't want to hear me speak Italian. I might get fired if I attempt.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're just having fun. The primary drive with what we're doing at Rupes now is education. I mean, and I'm sure a lot of people see myself and other guys on the team, Jason Rose and Todd Helm and Jeremy Harding and Paul Weidler, and we're out there, at least for the U.S. team and internationally, frankly, we've got a ton of rock stars all over the world, but our goal is to get out there and teach people.
Right.
It's not a sales thing as much as it is we want to show you a better way or how to do something appropriately. We're of the belief if we show you the right way, we can teach you about the tools and you'll make the decision on your own to buy them. We're not, it's not a hard sell.
And that's our philosophy here too.
Yeah, exactly.
Education first, and that's our whole goal. It's one of the reasons we have this show, is it's just education. And if you teach somebody how to use it, whether they buy it from you or not, at least they have the education, so when they go out to try and start researching tools and equipment, they're like, oh, actually.
Yeah, and elevate the kind of the collective IQ of the industry. We build better detailers from the ground up. They'll make better decisions. The industry as a whole gets elevated. The guys are doing better work. It's good for all of us. You're going to sell more towels. I'm going to sell more tools and pads and things because they'll know what they're doing, and hopefully their business increases. There's higher demand for services, and everybody benefits. So there's a real need to educate, because there is detailing as a whole. We're old dogs by industry standards. I'm 36. I'll be 37 this year. You're around the same
37.
age. So
Been in it for 20 years.
There's guys that are in this that are older than us, but not many of them, and so detailing as a whole is a really young industry. It's not something that's been around. I mean, when I started doing it, I don't think it was called detailing. It was like, you cleaned cars. You were a really thorough car cleaner, but to call it detailing, nobody would have understood.
Or you tell them I'm a detailer, and they're like, what?
When you detail
I wash cars, I polish cars, I cut cars, I get scratches out. Oh, you can do that?
Exactly. Yeah. I didn't know that was
shampoo my
possible.
carpet? Yeah, I can do that too.
Yeah. So given that it's such a young industry, there is a need for education. Obviously, that hasn't existed. I mean,
well, and going back to when we started, we didn't have hardly anything. You had the internet, maybe.
Yeah, YouTube.
You could try and find a forum. Yeah, there was no YouTube. There was no. I literally got it from the jobber, from the guy on the truck.
Yeah.
I'd ask him questions. How's this product work? How's this? And I had two guys one that actually was a detailer, knew what he was talking about, and one guy who ran a grocery store. And that was what he did. And then he converted to selling products. And if I had an issue, I could call one of them and have an issue with the product, and he would show up and he would demo and he would try and he would work with me through it.
Yeah.
Or he'd say, come over to my house tonight, let's try and recreate the problem you're having.
Yeah.
Where the other guy would show up and pick up the bottle, read the back. Did you try this?
The directions? No.
Yeah, no, I did. And he's like, huh, that's weird. I'm gonna have to make some phone calls.
Yep.
Because he didn't know how to use the product.
Yeah.
And so I think I started focusing more towards the guy that actually had the real world experience to learn from.
Yep.
And I've noticed that has been that trend in online where guys are starting to find guys that have been in that situation or know what they're talking about.
Yeah, we're essentially as an industry building a knowledge base, it's out there, and there's still, even as advanced as we've gotten in a very short period of time, there's still a lot of trial and error type things that happen.
Right.
What happens when this, and then there's obviously constant changes within how cars are finished. What kind of paints are being used. Introduction of waterborne paints and things changes how techniques have to be developed and how they have to adapt. And when we started, it was make a network of buddies basically in the area who were doing what you were doing, and
if you were lucky,
because they
wouldn't want to tell their secrets.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to help the competitor out. And then we had forums to a degree, and I think largely the detailing industry owes a large debt to the internet because it lets us share information so quickly. But it's a special time to be in the business now because the access to information is so instant. There's videos, there's write-ups, there's networks of guys who are willing to help.
Yeah.
You've got organizations like the IDA that are trying to build these networks of interconnected people who are all about elevating each other versus, like you're saying, keeping the secrets to themselves. And I can't give you the inside tip on that. You'll steal my business.
Yeah, and there was a guy when I visited Opticode headquarters in Memphis. I was sitting there hanging out, just working on some emails, waiting for my flight and a ride to the airport. And a guy, a local detailer, walked in, bought one foam pad, and started talking to me. And I said, so you got some jobs? What do you got going on? And just chatted him up a bit. And he goes, yeah, well, I had to get this pad because this is the only pad that works. He goes, and this is my secret weapon. And I was like, for getting out a certain type of defect and a certain paint compound, I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
He's like, no, this is
for
what makes me better than everybody else. And I was like, well, do you ever have guys ask you questions about that? And he's like, oh yeah, everybody wants to know my secret, but I don't give it up. And I was like, you probably should start letting some of these guys know what's working. And he's like, well, I got to fight them for that money. And I was like, well, all right then.
There's being competitive, and then there's being counterproductive.
I'm the guy that's like, let's share,
Yeah.
let's show what we're doing. There's no secrets with me.
And there's
I'll
give and
tell you
take. If
everything
you're
you
willing
need
to
to know.
share, somebody's willing to probably. You're going to run into a situation where you don't have the answer, and you want to be the guy who was sharing, so that they will share back with you.
Yeah.
Because if you are just constantly trying to keep everything to yourself, when you do need help, you're not going to get it because everybody will understand you're kind of that closed off guy.
Yeah, because I've been able to build a small network here of guys in Boise and be able to share that information with each other and have these local detailers do that, it was funny for me to get and have this huge network of friends and fans and groups on Facebook that I'm able to do that same thing, share info on.
Yep.
And and it was just amazing to get back into this. One guy was just like, nope, this is my secret.
Yeah.
I don't let anybody know how I use this waffle pad.
I can't tell you.
It was a black waffle pad. And it was hyper polished. That was what he was. That was all he was using. That was different. It wasn't anything. It wasn't
super top secret. Nobody's gonna crack that code.
Yeah, I was like, okay, all right, have fun with that.
Was he using a Rupes polisher? That's also a top secret thing, probably,
and
right?
I think he was because he did bring that up. But it was just surprising to me that was the only thing he came in for was that pad.
Yeah. That really is. That kind of mentality is what I'm trying to break down. We were talking a little bit earlier about, and you mentioned in the intro here about the articles I've written, and I take a deep personal interest in kind of the sociological part of this business because, again, the lack of maturity in the business, and not calling the guys immature, but the industry itself being
it's very young.
There's some things that should be pointed out now, and I've written about the sniper culture, kind of nitpicking guys for things that don't matter, and I wrote another article about the kind of gouging the suppliers, the $50 detail article, because these are things that I think a lot of guys, they get a little selfish. They want to keep secrets about their process, and they want to keep secrets about where they're buying things from and the prices that they're getting. And we really need to break that down now while we have the chance and kind of knock these walls down, because if we get too far, at least in my opinion, if we get too far down a path and the industry continues to grow and mature and we start developing these cultural issues, it's going to be much harder to fix them when more people enter this business. I mean, there's more detailers coming in every day. There's more guys starting detailing businesses. I mean, it's crazy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Low cost of entry, very low skill set required, and then you can learn your way up. And if we foster that kind of sharing and educational culture and kind of up the business ethics of it all, guys who come in will have to come in at that level versus trying to drag everybody up if they're already fighting in the trenches. And so that's really what I want to see happen more of. There's guys, you and I do this, and there's a large network of guys out there now who are doing a great job of kind of fostering that kind of culture within the industry. But I think there is a long way to go.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of infighting still.
Well, and some fighting's fun. It keeps competition friendly and exciting, but at the same time, there's so much misinformation out there on everything that it's hard to try, and I feel like we're always trying to circle back and tell people. Like for me, I hear, I try and explain to people, I've got hundreds of videos on heat kills microfiber. Scientific fact, it's plastic, it's gonna melt.
It will melt.
That's what happens. And I'll see people post, how do I wash microfiber towels? That's fine. I'll chime in, very simple, easy process. I hear other guys post below, I just get a pot of boiling water and I put all my towels in it. It's like, why? You're melting them. We just run it on hot.
Yeah, use hotter water because it breaks the waxes down.
Yeah, and it's like, it's so many times where you're like, no. Yeah. You can Google search, you can do video searches, you can do it's right here. It's very simple to find it.
It's a demonstrable fact. I can show you what happens when I overheat
this.
Super
simple. Yeah, and it's hard to try and feel like you're always doing that, but at least we are doing that. At least we're trying to change that. At least there are people that are out there, and the key is just having that open mind, keeping the ability to learn. I've been in this 20 years and I'm still learning stuff every day.
Yeah. You never know all of it. And the second you think you know all of it, you probably know far less than you can actually know. Because you start to shut yourself off, and go, well, I already know how to do that. I mean, the classic line I always love to hear from the guys who've been, working at a dealership, running a rotary, and I've been doing this for 20 years. It's like, well, that's great. But doesn't necessarily mean you know more, it just means you've been doing it the same way for 20 years. It's great. You've got one process down, but there's a whole lot that's changing, and this industry changes extremely fast.
Yeah, and it begs to be on that forefront.
Yep.
That you're going to better yourself if you can have the latest, greatest information.
Yep.
Then utilize the latest and greatest tools.
Yeah.
But make sure you have that information first,
An opinion's fine. Everybody's got one, and it's fine to have an opinion, but I guess the negative also, we're talking about all the positives that the internet's brought to the industry, but the negative is it gives everyone a voice, even those that maybe don't deserve one.
Yeah.
And so that they can put information out there so easily, whether it's right or wrong, it's out there. And so it takes a lot of effort on your behalf. Everybody they need to filter things and really kind of critically think about the information. Don't just, because this guy who has a YouTube channel, by the way, it's free to start a YouTube channel, so it's not exactly a hard thing to do. Just because you have a YouTube channel doesn't make you an authority on what you're speaking about. You could be dead wrong.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there are a number of those guys out there that are putting misinformation into the stream. And so it's our job as detailers and anybody who's in a position of influence that has an audience, however big it might be, to teach people to think that way. Don't just swallow it. Don't just take that information and absorb it and go, oh, it's fact because this guy said so. Think about it critically. If you're halfway decent at detailing, these are experiments you can run to prove for yourself. Test it. Make sure it works. Oh, this is the best pad. Well, have you tried all of the pads?
Right. There's many pads.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, but this one works perfectly. Well, that's great, but
it works great for you.
It works great for you, but you can't just go out onto the internet and tell everybody, oh, you have to use this pad because it's the only one that works.
We call it a drop and run. You can't go onto a group, drop something, and then just leave.
Yeah.
And we do that on our pages too. Is if you post something, this product sucks. No, that doesn't. No, you need to explain it.
Yeah.
Why?
What was your experience?
And then you find out. Well, it's because I only use it on this type of paint, at this color, on this. Okay, so that is only specific to you. It is not specific to 95% of the public.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that's a perfect term, drop and run. I love it. But that's unfortunately, we have a number of guys there's a large contingent of people who do that. But it's not backed up by any science or fact or testing. It's an opinion in one situation. Unfortunately, there are those who are going to absorb it and go, well, apparently that does suck.
Yeah,
I was going to try it, but now I won't.
Somebody say it sucks.
Yeah, and it's, again, opinions are great, but think critically about the information and really, really verify what you're hearing, because rumors are a bad thing.
Well, and there's so much misinformation. There's so much and so many people taking that. So the key is always filter, find it out for yourself, do the research.
Yeah.
We're only here to educate you, and we're going to give you all the information we have, so that way you can formulate the best solution. So
one of my favorite sayings about this is that the internet is full of information, but very little knowledge. Information can be anything, be wrong or otherwise, but it takes real knowledge and critical thinking to get to that core and find that solution. So I always encourage anybody I speak to at a seminar or in any kind of setting, podcast, videos, is to be a critical thinker and don't be one of the sheep that follows the herd and lemming off the cliff or whatever it is. How many analogies I can throw at that.
Exactly. Well, thanks, Dee, for coming on. I appreciate it.
Dude, this is awesome.
We've been planning on this for a long time, so I'm excited we're doing this finally. Yeah. So check out more videos on the Rag Company YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe, and thanks for watching, guys.